Conservation of natural resources is an important aspect of protecting the components of our fragile ecosystem and environment around the planet. And particularly in case of biodiverse countries dotting across the continent of Asia, Africa, and Latin America and various island countries, it is important that we take this point of time as an important emergent need for the conservation of wildlife, natural resources, biodiversity to the best of our ability. Biodiversity not only constitutes a component of our global ecosystem, but it is essential for the maintenance of the health of our natural ecosystems and environment. And if we fail to protect them over a considerable period of time, as we have not been very successful over the last 5 or 6 decades, much needs to be done to protect these endangered species before they get extinct or are pushed towards extinction. Several species of flora and fauna around the world are showing alarming signs of decline due to a number of natural and anthropogenic factors that includes climate change and global warming, to ozone depletion, to greenhouse gas impact, and the extensive pollution that is impacting both cities and rural areas due to industry, growth of industry and agriculture, and unprecedented destruction of forest for the purpose of infrastructure, expansion of industrial and agricultural needs for our staggeringly growing populations, and various other factors which are making our life highly complicated. The specific war zones that are now multiplying in various corners of the earth with genocidal impacts and other related humanitarian crisis that is happening around the world is making life significantly detrimental with respect to the biodiversity of our planet. And these needs cooperation, communication, coordination, and support from every corner, from every stakeholders involved in the processes, whether it is adjoining countries, adjoining states, union and territories, or international platforms. Everyone needs to pitch in into this process to make conservation a successful process to run. The maintenance of healthy wildlife is aspect of wildlife conservation. The maintenance of wildlife species and its population should be carried out through the protection of wild species and their habitation. The practice is referred to as wildlife conservation. The natural ecosystems needs to be safeguarded and enhanced using various conservation strategies both in situ and ex situ. The conservation of wildlife is necessary for the prevention of drought, new desert fires, as well as flood. Also, this conservation ensures that the upcoming generations of human and wildlife will be surrounded by nature, thereby loving it and understanding the significance of wildlife. Also, wildlife acts as a gene pool for various resistant strains of pests causing the diseases. The production of food is also enhanced via wildlife. Various pollinating agents like insects, birds, bats help in increasing the productivity of plants. Moreover, wildlife also contributes as a medicinal source. Humans are benefited from various species of microscopic animals, fungi, animals, and other plants in various ways, whether they are inhabiting the various biomes of this world. It is very important to protect them. The wild plant species are responsible for the production of various pharmaceutical drugs, and they are highly sought after in pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, and our booming functional food industry. Unless we protect these species today, we will have no resources left for our next generation to cater to the needs of human beings for the future, which is not very distant. The study of interaction of various species with their ecosystem and the effect of human and environment influences on the wildlife will help in conserving the wildlife. The destruction of habitats, degradation, poaching, overexploitation, and fragmentation of the forests are underlying causes of most of the threats faced by wildlife and its population. Furthermore, the overexploitation of the forest by allowing domestic animals to forage in forested areas make them extremely vulnerable to the wildlife, where they can contaminate diseases that are present in domestic animals and transmit through a non-immune population to decimate them within a very short period of time. Furthermore, wildfires as well as human-made fires are causing havoc on the ecosystems of the forest, and many species are pushed towards the brink of extinction. This needs to change. Overgrazing, overexploitation, overharvest of the forest, and particularly to the global geopolitical environment. There are many displaced populations in various parts of the world, particularly in the developing and underdeveloped countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America, who are pushed from their home surroundings and into the forested areas for refuge from avoiding political persecution, genocides, and various other economic and socio-political disturbances that are impacting our life globally. Now, this increasing pressure on the forest is putting our plants and animals at a maximal risk of overexploitation and extinction during the course of time, when more and more people are becoming increasingly dependent on forest resources for their daily sustenance. Furthermore, climate changes as well as global pollution abruptly is affecting the destruction of various premier habitats. All governments around the world and non-government agencies and other members who are stakeholders in this process of biological conservation around the world needs to come together to work hand in hand for protecting these wild species from the threats of being extinct. Various countries around the world have developed black markets which get the patronization of their government in running businesses on wildlife body parts, life pates, as well as various endangered species for the purpose of food, for the purpose of cuisine, medicinal needs, and various purposes which are being harvested from the nature at an indiscriminate rate with military precision, resulting in the crushing of their population unless important steps are taken to curb this humanitarian crisis extended into the life cycles of our flora and fauna around the planet. It is not the responsibility of one country, because this illegal trade and wildlife trafficking has been integrated as an international illegal trade across continents, and hence it is important for countries around the world to take this issue extremely seriously and work together on a common platform to help build consensus, educate and aware the public, and also work towards conservation. It is important to involve people who live in and around the forest, or forest dwellers, or remote residents, or forest residents, to be a part of these stakeholders in the process of the conservation of the forest, wildlife, biodiversity conservation, because without the help or without including the human factor in the equation for the conservation, there is very little hope that any conservation effort will become successful. As we are progressing more with new technology and gadgets impacting our life, the quality of the life is being improved, and more natural resources are being hoarded, particularly from the vulnerable, underdeveloped and developing countries. It is the responsibility for all of us to work together to help towards the conservation of wildlife, conservation of our biodiversity, conservation of our endangered forest and other natural resources, which includes medicinal plants, fungi, minerals, to be protected for our future generation. If we do not take the step today, we are pushing ourselves towards a big jeopardy in the not so distant future. Shoikat Kumar Basu, Bureau Report, Kalinga Chronicle TV.